Just be pretty.
Brandon, I just want your approval, Brandon. I just want to approve of the men that I date, Brandon.
Listen, like, here's the thing, and here's what makes that a really complicated subject. He might be like a really nice human being. So I don't want like there to be a bit on social media that I'm dunking on this person because they don't know me and they just know like, wow, Brandon is just kicking my ass online. And I've never met Brandon. I don't know him. I'm being discriminated against. And I wouldn't have like a good answer. I mean, I don't want to be seen as superficial slash shallow slash petty slash whatever the slash is. So yeah.
This is in DMs. This is a DMs thing. I send you the picture privately and I say, okay.
I know, but then you blasted it on Twitter. You're being sloppy, being a mess. So I have to talk about it even less than I was before.
Honestly, I thought it was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
You tagged me, you comma, all caps, comma,
Brandon. Yeah.
And this guy, is he a tweeter? We don't know.
No. Okay. Also, I mean, I completely obscured his objectively attractive face.
No. Boy, Twitter, youtube.com/notsafemedia. Let me tell you, I'm not gonna be sloppy about this. I'm not gonna be messy. Not an objectively attractive person.
I think he's cute.
Like if it was an objectively attractive person, I'd be like, get him on the show.
I'm still not sure what your idea of objectively attractive is.
I don't know.
I'm gonna need you to give me like 3 to 5 white dudes you think are decent looking.
I mean, here's the thing. Because we're talking about, there being so many white dudes, the standard is higher if you're just talking to a stranger, like name 5 people, because you're going to name 5 celebrities. So if I'm like Ryan Gosling, you're like, well, that's not fair. Like
in real life.
Yeah, well,
not on the air. No, we're not going to call anybody out on the
air. I was literally about to say, well, so and so, he's a cutie pie, and he'd be like, oh, that's so nice of you to say that.
We do have a lot of attractive friends. If you're friends with us, it's pretty. You're attractive.
Yeah, but but is that guy attractive enough for that friend group?
I mean, I think so.
But again, this sounds like such catty dialogue, even if I'm trying to be scientific.
I think Brandon is just really protective of me.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Listen, if tomorrow you call me and you tell me that you're eating out of a Taco Bell dumpster, I'm gonna be like, yo, live the adventure. I'm not gonna be trying to save you. That's not true. I'm gonna be like, live mine, girl, go for it. Your choices are just extremely not my business. Let me tell you.
Are you saying the men I date are Taco Bell dumpsters, Brandon? Because that would be fair, honestly.
But if you come to me and you're like, I found a cheesy crunch wrap in there, man. I'm not gonna slap it off your hands. You seem to be happy. There's some Fritos in there if you dig around. So no, you do you.
You're still in the packaging and everything. No, no, I will say this is the first like sincerely good date I've been on in over a year. It was nice. I was very happy about it. Fingers crossed on this one, folks. In other news, other things that are good in South American, Chile.
Not the Taco Bell does not count living. Listen.
Actually, he's Venezuelan. Sorry, I introduced that. He himself is South American.
Okay. Yeah, listen. Okay, that was a total. Okay, listen. The people of Bolivia, to be clear, have chosen to live mas, but that is totally different.
Well, the people of Bolivia, also the people of Chile, they just passed the referendum to rewrite the ancient fascist neoliberal constitution that Pinochet installed.
Yes, the Pinochet constitution.
So good. Everybody's really, really excited about that. It has overwhelming support. The polls right now are showing like 78% in favor. Just absolutely, people love it. They want it. They want to do it. Here, personally, I think we should rewrite our constitution.
Well, I think the rewrite of the American Constitution is like at least 200 years overdue. But I think, and in fact, this was something that I was going to ask you about. it's tough because if we were to pass a vote to say, hey, do we want to rewrite the Constitution? That might pass with like an overwhelming number.
Yeah.
But what would come out of that convention?
Right. Well, so the next thing they're doing in Chile is they're going to have another election to nominate, I think it's like 155 people that are going to be rewriting the Constitution.
Right.
Although I guess to be fair, the way things are going right now, that could still just end up being people with shitloads of money.
It could be a bunch of assholes, but it could also be better than what they have. It could be mixed. It could be fine. Yeah. Like, listen, we shouldn't, as leftists, you're not going to find the end of history from a committee, right? So I can promise you that, a year from now or whatever the time period is, it'll be a totally different situation and we'll be disappointed with it in one way or another. But like, that's how history works. There's always some new battle to fight, and I doubt that the Chilean Constitution will be a perfect document, let me tell you.
At the very least, it's going to be better than the Pinochet Constitution.
They had a Pinochet Constitution, and they're throwing that out, so that's a good thing.
I mean, and I think we can make a similar argument about our own Constitution, right? Like, the Founding Fathers were not good people, y'all. Our Constitution was written by people who literally did human trafficking, y'all.
Okay, well, I mean...
I do not understand Constitution defenders. It's the civic religion of America is one of the most bizarre and baffling institutions to me.
I mean, it's just a strict appeal to tradition. Like, that's it. That's the only reason. It's because that's what we've been doing it, so it must be good enough, and it isn't. It's not good enough, y'all.
Like, for 100 years, the Senate was elected by state legislatures. We did not directly elect senators. The Constitution was designed to protect against democracy.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you talked about human trafficking, in your discussion of the Founding Fathers, because you know where else there's human trafficking? The current government that we have right now.
Yes.
So it's we can obviously want a rewrite of the Constitution, and I honestly think if you ask people right now if they want to rewrite, I think if you just polled everybody and everybody voted, we'd have one. But it's still going to have shitheads attached to it.
Right. I mean,
absolutely.
Like, just Amy Coney Barrett writing it so that women again, like, I hear what you're saying. I don't think that's entirely unrealistic, especially given that we live in the hellest of all worlds. But I don't know. I would be willing to roll them back.
Well, do you think that if we had a new constitutional convention right now, that the end product would be better than the Constitution we have now?
It depends on how the electors for that Constitution, like who's writing it. Like, if we divvy it up based on the Electoral College, then it would probably be kind of shitty. But if it was like a popular vote thing, then we might get something better. Just how much sway are you giving conservatives in this process is the question.
Well, you tell me.
That's the thing, right?
How much can they get?
We would have to really be careful about how we elected those representatives to write it. I don't think we should use the existing systems we have, right? I don't think we should have it be party-based. I don't think we should have it be a plurality election. I think we should have, like, some kind of single transferable vote situation.
Yeah. I just knew that this would go in some direction with some fancy voting system. Yes, you can get the results that you want if you're in charge of...
The results that we want are for people to be adequately and accurately represented on a consensus basis.
Yeah, but do we, being the United States of America, through its citizens and its choices, do we want that?
God. I mean, I think 70% of us do, which is enough. Like, 30% of the population using an actual, like, proportionally representative system cannot create the same.
You know what? That's true. Right, and maybe we're being too hard on America, which you never hear on a show like this. But we have a system that isn't super democratic.
One of the
as we get frustrated, as we get frustrated with these choices that we have and that the country seems to make,
Yeah.
they're not super representative.
Like,
something shit heels always like to say is we're not a democracy, we're a republic, which is a meaningless distinction that only wonks care about, and it only
Right.
serves to be your vote and your opinion doesn't matter. Fuck you.
mm-hmm. Yeah, thankfully your vote isn't getting counted. Haha.
Yeah.
Kieran.
So-
As with all Republican lines of argument, they're only arguing it because it ensures they retain power. If there was a majority of Republicans in this country and they kept losing the Electoral College but winning the popular vote, they would be arguing for the abolition of the Electoral College. Republicans have no ideological convictions except what gets them more power.
Right.
Would we feel the same way if roles were reversed?
What do you mean?
If just the overall majority population of the United States was an extreme, like a right-wing population,
Right.
and we had the last few presidents, but it's through technicalities of the Electoral College. For some reason, the Democrats have a little extra pull in rural areas here.
So if the majority of the population wanted to do more oppression and change the Constitution to do more oppression,
Yeah, you'd be like, the
Hey.
Electoral College is actually good.
I mean, if we were at that stage, I would be like doing domestic terrorism about it. Like,
No. Imagine that the political situation is exactly reversed.
okay,
So you have a demographic minority,
right.
but you also, your nominal political party, the Democrats, they
Right.
have like two of the tables of government. You're about to get a third Supreme Court justice, and remember, you are maybe more of a radical. So this Supreme Court justice is somebody who kicks ass that you really like.
Yeah, I mean,
And so if we're talking about a constitutional amendment, you would probably be like, actually, the Electoral College is keeping these people who we don't like from doing the votes we don't like.
but the thing is, like,
Basically, I'm saying your allegiance to democracy.
I want to give up power. You're saying, do you, an anarchist, would you give up power? Like, my whole point, we don't have it. My whole point, the whole reason that I think we should do this is because it is specifically structured to disempower people, right? Like, it's not just about who's currently in control. It's about the way the system itself interacts with and represents the people it ostensibly is selected by to govern, right? And it's not actually doing the thing it's supposed to do. And that's the problem. That's why I'm against it, right? It's not about whether, like, it advantages one group over the other. It's about the fact that it's not representing people at all. Like, if we lived in that kind of country where people were seriously that conservative, like, I would probably still be saying, yeah, this shit is fucked. Like, but it's, you know, if your question is,
It's not a trap question. It's not like a trick question. Yeah, I just want to know whether you care more about the policy outcome that comes from maybe a more pluralist in the United States, or whether you're just happy to see people properly represented.
You know,
I mean, for me at least, or no, Rachel, you can go.
I'll say my last thing, then I'll let you have it, Leah. For me, it is as much about me being a wonk as anything else. I want the system to reflect the will of the people, and it does not.
Genuinely, oh, sorry.
I'm good, go.
Genuinely, if people want to further their oppression, then I don't think we should let them. I think it is good when good policies are enacted, and it's bad when bad policies are enacted. So if we were in that sort of situation, then fuck it. Maybe a little non-democracy is cool, so long as the good things happen.
I mean, my official stance on all of these things is that we should have a government that is strictly raised on an issue-by-issue basis, and every single time we want to deal with an issue, we elect people to deal with it. Like, I don't want to have, like, fixed political positions even. I want to have, like, an actual community-oriented, community-empowering system such that, like, we only create positions temporarily, like, ever, on a project-by-project basis.
Yeah, but I mean, Jen,
Like I'm
basically,
an anarchist. What do I want? I want less government.
basically, the question that you're asking is, do I, as a trans person, want to be institutionally discriminated against, or do I want to tilt the tables a little bit on the government? And if that's the choice that you're giving me, I'm tilting the fucking tables.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't necessarily phrase it like that, but
that would be a consequence of
yeah,
a pluralistic system leading to an extreme right wing populist getting their policies done.
right.
Mm-hmm. This is true. So none of that has a whole lot to do with Chile. We're happy for Chile. It is a big thing.
No, that was a big philosophical discussion. Now you come onto the stream. You're not just learning about Chile. You're learning about life. That's what we're doing here. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Itself.
Right.
I feel like I say all the time, like, what's a Condorcet winner? And I always try to get people to tell me what it is when they tell me I don't know enough about voting because I'm an anarchist or whatever. And they can never tell me. I'll tell you now, for people who've been watching me do this repeatedly, it's somebody who could beat every single other person, right? It's the person who could beat every single other person in a one-to-one matchup. That's a Condorcet winner. And broadly speaking, it's part of a philosophy of trying to figure out the candidate that people like the most, or the most people like, or the candidate that has the best consensus. And these are philosophical questions that you have to ask every time you're setting up a voting system, because no voting system can address every single one of these interests, right? So the reason I say these things the way I do, the reason I say we need to have proportional voting and single transferable vote and stuff like that, the reason I say we should have approval voting and star voting is because my philosophical belief is we should be seeking for consensus, right? Not who is the biggest group, but what ideas have the most consensus. And the only way to really do that effectively is going to be by using a star rating system. It's just like an Amazon review. You trust it when you're buying electronics. You can trust it to pick your politicians. These will be the people who best represent consensus, right? That is the thing we want to be shooting for, in my opinion.
I was reading a study on that. Interestingly enough, a series of polls were conducted for star and approval rating polling in 2016. And if those systems were instituted, Gary Johnson would be the president, because he is the least hated by the most amount of people.
Yeah, but if we knew that was
we probably would have done a lot less damage. So
if we knew that was the system, then more resources would have been spent on making him hated.
I mean,
that is true.
That is true, but it is a lot harder to spoil somebody's vote, right? It is a lot harder to get somebody to vote defensively when they can go down and rate every single candidate by how much they approve of them, right? You don't have this weird thing that you're doing where I had to convince myself to vote for Joe Biden and then puke because the alternative is, oh, what if Trump wins again and I feel like I'm somehow responsible, you know? I don't want to do that shit. Nobody wants to do that shit. Nobody wants to vote for somebody they hate because they're less worse. And if you really want to stop lesser evilism, this is how. You do approval voting instead of having somebody pick a single winner. Or at the very least, you do ranked choice voting instead of having somebody pick a single winner. Like, you don't have to do things this way. We don't. We can rewrite the Constitution just like Chile and completely change all of it and create a system that actually works the way we want it to. Not to get wonky.
We just have so many people who they don't want, like, you know how you have people who will say, you know, I couldn't afford to pay for my school, so why should other people? Like, people will not want a simpler voting system because they'll be like, hey, the one that I had is the one that I had.
Right.
So everybody's got to go through what I went through.
Right.
Ugh, it's just.
I don't think that's productive. I don't want to do that to people. I don't want it done to me. And hopefully we'll do better next time. Maybe.
That's very deep.
I mean, ranked choice initiatives are seeing success kind of around the country where they're being brought up. In Maine, a proposal was adopted, and you're seeing movement in the Senate race for the Green Party candidate that I've forgotten the name of, for people to mark the Green Party first and then the Democrats second, because Maine now has ranked choice voting. There's also an initiative, I believe, in Massachusetts that is leading pretty widely in polls. So hopefully, as we move through the 2020s, this is something that we see more of in states.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it's picking up steam, and I'm glad to see it picking up steam. I agree. And I mean, these things move slowly. They always do. But I feel like if we can maybe in a couple of states get something like ranked choice voting for like state legislatures and start sort of doing proof of concept in the states, we will probably be able to create that momentum. Because frankly, everybody likes it better. Everybody understands it. It makes a lot of sense. People really prefer being able to express their authentic opinion. They do. People want to be heard. So, speaking of people being heard, this is another cool sort of local election update. We are seeing just incredible turnout.
This early voting, like, hey, people may be more interested than you think. It turns out if you make things easy for people, they'll do them. Yeah.
It is really incredible. We are seeing, I think it's like 66% more people than this time last year, or something like that. I'm going to mess this up and sound like a big dumb idiot, and y'all are going to yell at me in the comments. But it's an incredible increase that we've been seeing. It's been a lot of really young people that we're seeing, in fact. Like the 18 to 29 bracket is blowing up with people coming out, which is great. And I mean, I agree with you, Brandon. You know, making it easy to vote is good, actually. Getting people to the polls is good, actually.
And you can't help but wonder, you know, once you have it for this, which is in a pandemic, and there's obviously the public health issue of it, how do you get people to go backwards once they have something?
Right. No one's going to want to go back, because I think really, like, hand-marked paper ballots are the best balloting option, period. Everybody likes those best. And also, having the option to take this paper ballot home with you, you can read about the candidates while you're filling it out, and then you can just drop it off at your convenience anytime for like 2 or 3 weeks before the election. That's great. That's wonderful. We should be doing this forever, actually. We should never stop. And the fact that the only people who have been caught screwing around with paper, like, guilty consciences produce accusations. Folks.
Yeah, and that it's been that way for a long time. If you look at cases of voter fraud, it's always Republicans doing the things that they got the idea about from Rush Limbaugh making something up.
Yeah. Yep.
I should do that too. Obama's doing it. What do you mean I gotta go to jail?
They get this idea that it's so easy to do voter fraud because millions of illegal ballots or whatever were cast in 2016, when in reality, voter fraud is less common than getting struck by lightning.
Big shout out.
So.
Big shout out to Fox News for making crime sound cool. They've been doing it for 20 years, and they're at the top of the fucking game, top of the food chain.
Yeah.
Making crime cool.
They got to shift to new crimes, though. I've been talking about welfare fraud. It's good. Do welfare fraud.
Listen, no, Leia.
Doing welfare fraud. I feel like it's got to be pretty severe.
Leia, literally, a rapper went to jail like 2 weeks ago for talking about welfare fraud on their Instagram. Talking about, you're selling dope all day. All I got to do is fill out a form, like all that kind of bullshit. And the guy got caught, and he's doing time. So Leia, you as a gangster, an infamous gangster, you know about a phenomenon of quiet money. So maybe, Leia, you should let this welfare fraud grift be some quiet money at the Rose Mansion in the upper Midwest.
You know.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely on welfare right now. Legally.
No, I know.
No stress, legally.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, it's legal, very legal and very cool.
Just,
Oh,
getting money from the government is cool. Except when it's like business subsidies.
Wow.
Yeah. Who wants to do business?
No one's cooler than Boeing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool if you and the CEO of Boeing bonded over grifting? That could be like a podcast recurring bit.
Oh, that would be incredible.
We just love to grift. I don't know.
I mean, I'm pro-grift. This is a pro-grift podcast.
We're vibing.
We vibe,
We're,
grift. This is the life we lead.
we're
Only
schemers.
God can judge us.
We're scheming. Scheming should be encouraged in our society.
Pro-scheming, anti-wonk.
Mm-hmm.
So, Leia, you are, in fact, a youth. This is your first election you're going to be voting in. What is it like among the youth right now? Millennials at this point, I think we're all completely disenchanted and don't believe in any of this anymore, but I want to hear from you. What are the young people saying about this?
Do you believe in love after love?
It sucks. This sucks right
We're
now.
going to get copyright stricken just with that. That's really incredible.
So
The
it's
election
great
kind of sucks
technology.
right now, and the funniest, most cool thing I'm seeing so far is people competing to have the funniest write-in. So far, the funniest I've seen is the girl reading this, and then they draw in a smiley face. I wrote in Hillary Clinton because I'm still with her.
We're still with her. It's funny, you're still with her, and Aaron is still in this fight. So we've got a lot of crossover appeal.
Yeah.
Do it forever.
Yeah.
I unironically, authentically, and sincerely puked and then cried after I filled in the bubble for Joe Biden.
Wait, before we get to that, which is fascinating, because we did totally ruin Leia's discussion of voting and stuff like that. We just ran her over doing bits. So, Leia, talk about the voting experience and what that's been like this year.
Well, to
And
start
that's
off
something
with,
good because I set things up for you. So if it's a bad take, then I'll be like,
And-
all right, go ahead.
so to start off with, we didn't get our mail-in ballots until like, it was funny. We got our mail-in ballots the day after we decided to vote in person because we weren't getting our ballots yet. And it was fine. Montana has a decent enough mail-in voting system to where you can just request an absentee ballot when you register. By far, the most annoying thing is the Montana Senate race is disproportionately spent on. Like, it's the highest value Senate race of any Montana Senate race ever.
Yeah, it costs nothing to get TV time for these bums, these yokels, your people. And two Montana Senate seats are just as good as buying any other kind of property.
Yeah, so we're seeing the battle of the Steves play out in advertisements, and thank God I do not own cable. But like when I look on YouTube on my TV,
these relationships are all wrong. It's supposed to be Leia and Eve, not Leia and Steve.
Yeah, we're seeing Steve Daines and Steve Bullock. The two Steves are just going at it, and it's awful. And I want the mailers in my mailbox to stop. I want the ads on my TV to stop.
Do you have any mailers that
about the election?
Do you have any mailers that you've saved just because you were just like, wow, holy fuck?
No, I haven't. There's just far too many of them. I keep neglecting to throw them out. So
just
in the car,
save your 2 or 3 dankest ones.
I'll try to. In the car right now, in the footwell, there is just a cache of mailers that I read and then I forget to throw out.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, in Montana elections, the recreational weed initiative is slated to pass. Polling has showed it's generally pretty favorable. So that's good.
Good. Yeah, that's objectively a good thing. Anything we can do to decriminalize and end the drug war is good. 100% of any kind of anti-drug war legislation or referendum is good.
Yeah, there's a funny billboard on the highway over to my house that's like, wrong for Montana. Big marijuana is coming for your youth.
Ooh,
I wish it would.
that sounds like something that you should use for your call script. You should be like, big marijuana's coming, baby.
We know everything's been kind of shitty so far. We know your year has been really boring and you've been cooped up inside, but consider big marijuana's coming in. It's gonna you're gonna have so much fun doing absolutely nothing.
I love it. Listen, Leia, have you made a choice for the actual presidential election?
I wrote in Hillary Clinton.
Oh, yeah,
I did this. I posted about it.
You posted the tweet, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you vote for Bullock in the Battle of the Steves, or did you also vote for Tim Kaine?
I voted for Bullock. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
He's lean toss-up has it slightly Democrat, I think. But
yeah.
Steve Bullock is less puke worthy than Joe Biden.
We made all kinds of fun of Steve Bullock
Mm-hmm.
as a presidential candidate. Not really dunking Steve Bullock, just making fun of him in general. But when that's your choice for senator against like Bud Chutney from the Republican Party, you're like, yeah, Steve, Jesus, anything, sure, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's I have less trouble voting down ballot Democrat than I do for president.
Sure. Rachel, do you want to talk about?
Yeah, it was not hard for me to vote Democrat anywhere else. If anybody was running unopposed, I just abstained because I don't care. Why. If anybody was running as a Democrat against an incumbent Republican, obviously I voted Democrat against every incumbent Republican always. I voted for Tamara for the Senate because I've met her and she's cool, and that was basically the reason I voted for her, just because I liked her as a person.
Yeah, you guys have two open Senate seats right now, right?
That's right.
Yes. Obviously, I voted against Kelly Loeffler, who I sincerely hope gets hit by a meteor.
The Lord hasn't had that good of an aim for the last few thousand years. I don't really see that happening.
No.
Just
nice. And then actually there was one pretty cool election in my county. Speaking of like state and local elections, we had and I forget the actual title, the person who's like in charge of environmental stuff, right? There's like two people we were electing for that. And one of them was actually a person who was doing activist work in Atlanta, doing eco-justice stuff, he worked with Trees Atlanta, which is kind of like a running joke, honestly, because the joke is if you have 6 square inches of dirt, Trees Atlanta will put a tree there. Like, they're very aggressive about it, and it's great. And also, it's pretty funny because, like, half the time, 5 years later, they have to take the tree out anyway because it's screwing up the pavement or whatever, because they'll just put them everywhere. But I did vote for this guy because he has, like, experience doing this kind of work, and he's aware of eco-justice, and it was cool to see him on the ballot. So, yeah, yay. The other guy was a realtor and a real estate developer. So obviously I voted against him for the ecological conservation stuff.
Yeah.
That was the one I felt good about. But then I also voted for Joe Biden. And ultimately, I will tell you why I voted for Joe Biden. I did not feel good about it. I don't feel good about it. I feel sick and sad and angry.
Well, I wrote you a whole essay on why you personally should have voted for Hawkins. And I thought it was a very good essay. But did you use my reasoning for voting for Biden of just microaggression, or you have your own unique?
No, actually, honestly, the thing that did it for me, obviously there are people of color and Black people who are saying don't vote for Joe Biden for a lot of good reasons. There are a lot of people who are saying please vote for Joe Biden who are also people of color or Black. There are tons of indigenous people saying things either direction. Nobody agrees. No culture is a monolith. But at the end of the day, one of my closest friends who is Black said, give or take, do it because I asked you to personally. And if you don't, if you want to stay friends, you have to give me $50. And I thought about it. And I was like, you know what? All right. Is it worth giving this person $50 to not vote for Joe Biden? And the answer was no, because he's my friend and I value his opinions. So it was really just for my one friend. His name's Chris Snap. Chris can shout me out on the air. You are the one who convinced me to do it, in spite of the fact that I quite literally
Rachel, you are aware that it is legally permissible to say no to a Black person, right?
Yes, but he said he invoked. Listen, this is not.
I'll be like, Chris.
Person, he does not casually invoke his race, and he did this time. He's like, "Listen, do this for me. Like, I am asking you as a white person to do this for me, and ultimately that was enough, you know.
Chris Snap sounds sus. All right, but
Cool. He is one of the best people I've ever
no,
known.
I know. I've met Chris. Chris is very cool.
He is really stellar, and I have limitless respect for him as a person. And
Rachel, could I have been asking you for $50 this whole time and just never did?
Listen, you didn't think of the grift.
Yeah, that's true.
If you had thought of the grift, you probably could have done. Also, I've like given you money. I helped you move, Brandon. What are you talking about?
You gotta get into the scheme mindset. IBS, IB scheming.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I do kind of want to pull over a little and also talk about the reason it was so hard for me to do this, you know? And it is about Tara Reid for me. Like, I have on many occasions been in the position where someone who assaulted me or, you know, was like doing domestic violence to me or whatever, like was protected, right? Or where somebody who sexually harassed me was protected, you know, because it is more convenient to believe that somebody who was harmed is lying than it is to really accept that this person you might respect or care about or have a relationship with did something bad. You know, it can be very difficult. And I know exactly what it feels like to watch somebody who hurt you gain power, especially if it's power over you, right? And if you're president of the United States, you have all of the power, period. You can do whatever you want. That's what being president is, right?
Mm.
If Donald Trump isn't in jail, you can do literally whatever. So, you know, I know that feeling, and I never wanted to be a part of that for somebody else. You know, I never do. I hate it. You know, and honestly, Tara Reid's never going to see this, but on the off chance that you do, Tara, I want to apologize to you specifically.
She might. She follows us on Twitter, doesn't she?
Yeah, well, she does. Maybe she's watching. Tara, if you are watching, I want you to know I am apologizing to you specifically. As an individual, I believe you.
I'm sure she
did that to you, and I am so sorry authentically for having been part of why that person is probably going to be president. I'm sorry.
I'm sure that she's just had many individual reckonings with the people in her life and has made whatever peace there is to make with it in whatever direction, I would assume.
You know, it's for me as much as anything else, right? It's so that I can live with myself, you know, because I both understand that white women have been using rape to get out of difficult decisions since always, right? And I recognize that the relative trauma of being a white woman who was sexually harmed is not bigger than the thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of people that are going to be harmed by the continued, you know, rise of fascism. Do I think Biden is going to continue to raise the bar on fascism? Yeah, probably, certainly, maybe slower, but I don't know. You know, I'm not sure. I made the least worst choice I could think to make. You know, this is absolutely the last time I'm going on the record. I don't care. I am not voting lesser evil ever again, ever. This includes in 4 years, if Biden's running for re-election, I don't care. If they run Mecha Hitler and win, it's your fault for 2020 smashing Bernie Sanders' campaign. That is your fault if that's what happens next.
What if a black person asks for $20
Nope.
and 2 hot dogs? Will you exercise your legal right to tell a black person no?
No, I will not.
Okay.
I will not do it next year, or not next year, next election. I will not do it. Like, I am saying, absolutely, this is the last time I will ever do this, ever. The last time. Next, I'm going to vote for my own foot. I don't care.
Leia, how do you feel about this stream of events?
Oh, nothing. the reason I voted for Biden in Georgia is also because we are actually like at a 50-50 point where it is possible Biden will win Georgia. If it had been less on the fence, I probably still wouldn't have done it. So.
Well, Montana is incredibly unlikely to go to Biden. The only way it goes to Biden is if Biden wins by like 14 points. If the national swing is around 14 or 15, which is completely impossible. If it does happen, I'll buy a hat and then eat it. But if I was in an important state, it still wouldn't matter because this election is going to be decided at 10:11 Eastern Standard Time on November 3rd when Pennsylvania results start coming in. Because if Biden wins Pennsylvania, then he wins everything else because there's pretty much no scenario that he wins Pennsylvania and doesn't win the presidency. If Trump wins Pennsylvania, then all of the polls were wrong and Trump has won. So genuinely, even if I was in a swing state, either Biden is going to win the important states by titanic margins or he won't. And either way, my vote is not going to impact that.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking
I'm of the opinion that probably he will win by significant margins, which means that I don't. The lesser evilism is not in play because the lesser evil is going to be elected most likely. So I don't want that weighing on my personal conscience to support the things that Biden has done, like you talked about, in his career and in his personal life.
I think those are really valid choices. You know, I don't think there's a right answer for this one, folks. I don't think there's an ethical answer here.
I'm looking at it.
You personally can live with.
I'm looking at it from just an electioneering standpoint, and most of the time your vote doesn't matter. So, yeah.
It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting that all of y'all have made these deep philosophical. I haven't voted yet, so I'm still not 100%. But you know what? And this is an argument that slides around the whole "does my vote matter" kind of thing.
Yeah.
I hate Trump supporters. I don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
They say dumb stuff. They ruin everybody's day at work, on the bus, economically, statistically, just in every way possible. And if you wait in line, you can contribute to all of the Trump supporters in the state of Georgia feeling sad.
This is a very good point.
Yeah.
They think of all of the microaggressions that they have piled up against decent, God-fearing human beings just in life these last 4 years. Think about those people that send you, what are you going to do when Biden loses on YouTube when you don't even give a shit about Biden. This is an opportunity to make that person, that MAGA chud, or that just passive Republican that cares, to make them feel sad about their place in life and society and where the country is going. In the same way that you know, Trump got a little extra out of putting Kavanaugh up there, because he was like, here's a little bit of psychic warfare against those who oppose me. It's something, and it doesn't have anything to do with your moral culpability of when Biden gets sworn in, he immediately just starts bombing countries and starving old people or whatever. Let your hate ring pure.
You know,
that's a good point.
Holidays.
I remember you told me specifically the reason I should vote for Howie is because I personally have been more harmed by rapists, and I think that's probably true. You know, but
I wasn't going to share. I mean, that was a very good essay. I basically could be the Atlantic by myself. I wrote two quality short essays, and you know, no one will ever see them. It's incredible.
No, I saw them.
There's
a non-zero chance I'll post them on Twitter at some point.
Maybe.
I just want this all to be over, quite honestly.
Yeah, there was another reason too. Honestly, between Kamala Harris and Mike Pence, I sincerely prefer Kamala Harris. And frankly, I think probably Biden's going to be dead before the term is out anyway. So
Biden, do you see how this virus didn't get Trump and didn't get Christie, and they've just got the rich person juice?
yes, it's $100,000 sprayed and put into your veins.
They're gonna give Biden the juice as soon as he gets sworn in. He's gonna make it that 4 years, man.
I think.
Hey, listen, I'll bet you one beer that you can cash in if Biden passes away. Not that way, you'll have this as the nation is in mourning. You'll have a free beer, and you'll feel better.
So you'll buy me a beer if Biden dies. Is what
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
You're not considering the outside track option that Biden resigns on day 1 of year 3.
Nah.
So if Biden is still in office after the midterms, I will buy you a beer.
Ooh. I like that. That's a good bet.
Mm-hmm.
That's an easy one for me too. So you're actually giving me the underdog payout on that.
Yes, if Biden is still in office, November 2022.
Okay.
We'll say December. If by December 2022, Biden is still in office, like December 1st, I will buy you.
That sounds like a sweet deal to me. Like I said, they're gonna give him that liquid cash. They're gonna stick it in his. They're gonna give him what they gave Magic Johnson, man. He's gonna make it.
Yeah, money. If you just have enough money, you can afford medicine.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's wild what money can buy. And so while we're sort of on the topic of getting or not getting coronavirus and being way too old for office, also as just a quick aside, hi, that's cool. I don't know why you're watching the show, but hello, welcome.
Who are we?
Oh, this is
Hi from the Netherlands, says White Stripe.
So hi, I don't know why you want to hear us talking about this nonsense, but thank you.
You should be talking about your own happy life, your own happy world.
Yeah, you live in a place with healthcare.
Go get you some medicine, buddy.
Buy some Stroopwafels and free Benadryl. I don't know.
Right. So anyway, one final sort of good thing about this election, and also one final good thing about coronavirus. I want to talk about Typhoid Donnie, who
your president is wild.
Your president is one heck of a guy, because he has been running through the entire country, and everywhere he goes, COVID cases spike. And it surely cannot be all of the rallies he's holding where tons and tons of people are standing close together inside without masks for hours on end.
Not only are these the people that they're the people who are, coming from across the country to be with Trump. They also, not just the nature of the rally where they're all gathered around, it's their personal ideology that the whole thing is bullshit anyway.
Right. They're spitting in each other's mouths.
Right. So they're making out. They're spitting in each other's mouths during this thing because they have a death wish. I know Kennedy sometimes says, I didn't believe the whole death cult thing. I thought that was just goofy and exaggerated. This is death cult stuff right here.
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading there was I remember reading there was a woman on an airplane that intentionally coughed into other people's mouths and got arrested for it because she didn't want to wear a mask.
Rachel, if a woman coughed into your mouth,
I would punch her in the fucking nose and break it.
Yeah, that seems like on-site ass whooping.
It's like that scene from Airplane where there's a line of people fucking punching the woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's really, I think, the appropriate punishment for that. Screw sending her to prison. I'm a prison abolitionist. No. Every single person on that plane, punch her once in the face.
I sentence you to one combo. And it's combo.
So my funny bit was, speaking of spitting in each other's mouths, turns out the Trump electorate did not become pro-ass eating until they found out that there was a fecal-oral transmission route, and now they are doing it constantly to tempt God.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it.
It's not true. I literally made this up.
You said, I believe it. I believe it.
They believe a bunch of shit that's not true, so why can't I?
Exactly.
Why can't I, America? Why can't I also believe things that are obviously untrue?
What are some obviously untrue things that you'd like to believe in?
Okay, some obviously untrue things. I want to believe.
You see the things that you feel like might be untrue. You don't want to even shout them out because you're like, maybe I do believe in this thing. Because you've got some things that are like,
More like
oh,
there are fewer things I believe are untrue than there are conspiracy theories I wish were true. For example, I wish George Soros was paying me.
that's a great theory to have.
Yeah, I wish George Soros was paying me. I wish Bigfoot was real. I wish the Jersey Devil was real. I wish JFK actually.
His head just did that.
Yeah. I wish for let's see. I wish for Tupac to be alive. What else? What are some conspiracy theories you wish were real, Brandon?
I wish that people were willing to donate $5 to our Patreon.
That is such
at patreon.com/notsafe.
You can help us.
I know it won't happen. There's nobody listening or watching that's really cool enough to take that kind of deep personal interest in the content that they're getting every day on stream. But if that kind of thing were true, I would just be so hyped. And if people were to subscribe, I know this won't happen either, to our YouTube channel. That's at youtube.com/notsafemedia, because they just wanted to enjoy the many shows and things that we put out all the time from us and other hosts. That would just be so funny and so cool. Probably nobody, but you know.
You know what else? I want to believe in the conspiracy theory of Hot Girl Agenda, of Bitch Brunch, of, oh gosh, what's Aaron's pod's name? Time of Monsters?
Yeah.
Yeah, Time of Monsters, which is Aaron's pod. We have so many awesome just collaborators, contributors. I want to believe that all of those things are real. That we have a fan base. That's what I want to believe.
It's not true.
And, you know, like...
You want to believe a lot. You believe in this guy being cute. I'll see you guys later. It's been a good episode. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.